Hello, my name is Rachel. I am the work wife. Welcome to my channel. And today's video is going to be about communication. And it might seem like a basic topic and something that I've covered many times in the past, but I felt it was worth re-exploring today. But before I jump in, I have nearly 20 years of corporate experience, having successfully navigated my way out and through some toxic environments with some toxic people, and I've helped others do the same. So if you're having an issue with your toxic work environment or a toxic person, boss, coworker, or even employee, if you're a supervisor or manager, feel free to email me at theworkwifellc@gmail.com or send me a message on TikTok or Instagram at The Work Wife, and I have a link down below. And feel free to give this video a like. I would love it if you would subscribe. That really helps me grow the channel and get the word out to more people. So today's video about communication. I just did this long ass video just a few seconds ago and realized it wasn't recording, but I will attempt to remember what I said. Which may be a bit difficult with someone like me who has ADHD, but anyway, we'll do our best. So communication, what I was saying was, a lot of people think that they communicate, whether it's personally or professionally. A lot of people think they're communicating. They're saying, I'm saying what, I'm saying my feelings, and what I've discovered recently is a lot of time people are waiting to communicate to see what the reaction is, which shapes whatever they're communicating and leads to a lot of inauthenticity. What I mean by that is you are tailoring your response based on the assumptions about how you think the other person is going to respond. And I know I have done that a very long time, since I was a child, where I became, I'm not going to go into the whole long story about it, but basically gauging someone's reaction before I respond or before I make my needs known. Because I don't want a negative reaction. I don't want a dismissive response. I want, you know what I mean? Like, as a child, you want to be liked, you want to be loved. But I learned to do this little, okay, how is this person feeling? What are they reacting? And I learned to become very attuned to body language, expression, what are their eyes saying? And maybe in part that helped me become a very, I don't want to say a very empathetic person, but I'll just say attuned to other people's energy, because I trained myself without even knowing it at a very young age to, are they okay? Are they not okay? Are they okay with me? Are they not okay with me? And then, maybe I'd say something funny, or I would do whatever I needed to make sure that I was, I was approved. And so, the problem with this is that you're constantly putting out this signal without starting with your own reactions first. Your worry or concern about other people's reactions are influencing the way that you communicate. So it's not authentic communication. So whatever is bothering you, for example, about your job, your coworker, the situation that's going on and on and on and on, you may be holding yourself back because you're like, well, they're going to say this and my boss is going to say that. You've already played out this whole long conversation, and it's not usually to your favor. So then that changes the way you respond, if you respond at all. And this is like a constant biofeedback loop, where you're more worried about the other person than you are about being authentic to yourself. And it's sad in the sense that you may morph yourself into a person whom you think is more agreeable to the other person or more acceptable to the other person, and they still don't like you. What are you gonna do? Then you feel even worse because you're like, oh dang, I should have just been myself, right? And maybe they would have, it doesn't matter, but who knows? Maybe they would have picked up on your being yourself. Doesn't mean they're going to like you anymore. I mean, there's no guarantee of that. But even if they still don't, you're like, well, it is what it is. I'm being myself. Not everyone has to like me. But if you've gone these extra steps to do this little soft shoe foxtrot dance to please other people, and they still don't like you, that feels worse, because at the end of the day, you're like, I wasn't even myself. Like, I tried all these different steps to get this person to be more agreeable or accepting of me, and it didn't work. And now you got a double whammy. You feel the sting of the person not liking you and maybe telling you to your face or just being dismissive of you, and then meanwhile on top of that, you weren't even you, because somehow you deemed yourself just, I don't know, not to their liking. You had already assumed you weren't to their liking. But that's your projection. So a lot of times we think we're communicating, but we're not communicating from our own base. We're communicating from our past, from our memories, from our assumptions, from our trauma. Right? Oh, well, this happened before, so this is going to happen again. And all of that is your unconscious, or whatever's running in the whatever experiences you've had, whether you really remember them with clarity or not. You've had a similar experience that didn't end well. Your mind is going to say, remember what happened last time? And you're going to react to this brand new person as you did before. And you're already making an assumption this person's not going to like me. They're going to say this, they're going to say that, which tailors your own response to them. As opposed to you're dealing with someone difficult and you address that, especially at work or to a boss. Don't make it about the other person. Well, this person is doing this or you're doing that. No, you say, I feel a certain way. I feel my productivity is affected by this. I feel that this work, is not, I can do better. Well, I could do different work, or whatever the situation is, you address it from the heart. You, not this long, convoluted, imaginary conversation that you're having, and then you respond. So I liken it to, I may have mentioned this already, but a Wi-Fi signal. I know I lived that way a long time, where I'm constantly pinging. How's this person's feeling? How's this person doing? How's this person reacting? What is this person thinking about? And then coming up with a, not even, I don't want to say mimicry, but almost trying to mirror them to make them feel more comfortable with me. And sometimes it just happens naturally, but sometimes I realize I'm doing it deliberately to make them more comfortable and not me. And granted, this skill actually helped me in my years in law enforcement, because I would have to talk to some really bad dudes and dudettes. And maybe this is how I developed a sense of empathy for their situation, depending. But I was tasked to get their personal histories, and, I would unconsciously mirror them, their body language, their expression, sometimes even their way of speaking, which would in effect make them more comfortable talking to me and tell me things they'd never even told their own attorney. Things that they had never told anybody. Because I was gauging them and saying, okay, I wasn't this like robot writing down information, and in that particular case, me being my authentic self wouldn't have, well, I shouldn't say authentic, but me being kind of a neutral, unfeeling figure, because I'm supposed to be neutral, didn't really work well in terms of getting information. So I would just start gauging their responses, and then they would start telling me things they'd never told anybody. Some really horrific stuff, which is probably why they were in jail in the first place. But that's another story for another time. My point is, you can still, there are ways that of course, you're going to be different with different people. You're different with your family, you're different with your boyfriend, you're different with your girlfriend, you're different with your best friend. It doesn't make you fake. There are different facets of your personality that come up depending on who you're talking to. When I talk about authenticity, though, you're at the foundation of all those different facets of your personality. The deep side, the spiritual side, the hard charging side, the cuddly side, all of that is you. Those are the parts that make you. But if you're so focused on the other person, then what you're doing is you're not even being you anymore. You're being what you think they want to see. Based on, your assumption could be correct, it could be incorrect, you don't know. But the bottom line is you're not being yourself. Whatever facet that is, you're still not being yourself. And it's a way, and what I wanted to caution you is make sure, even though you say I'm a great communicator, blah, 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 are you really communicating from a place of truth? Or are you communicating from a place of an assumption about the other person based on your past history, trauma, memories, all of that? Projection. Are you lumping this person in with people you've experienced in the past somewhat unfairly, and then thus that's your response, as opposed to meeting the person where they are and for who they are, that unique person. So that's something to keep in mind when you are working on your communication skills. Are you communicating from a place of authenticity? Are you communicating from a place of you rather than an assumption that you're making about your job, your boss, your relationships? Every interaction should be an opportunity to kind of break the mold in a way, your own mold, and not just do the same thing that you've been doing or make the same assumptions you've been making over and over and over again. So I hope this helped. I am a wordy person. Those who know me, you know this. I've adapted to learning to text and not send novels, full paragraphs in the text. I'm getting better. But for someone like me, where I consider myself a great communicator, I realized I was still doing this, and I was still constructing this whole story in my mind before I even opened my mouth. And that was not serving me. So anyway, I would love it if you could, if you have questions about this, leave a comment down below. Let me know whether you've been having issues communicating, whether at work or in your personal life. And I would love to work with you. I would love to hear your story, and maybe come up with ways that, you can be more authentic. So ultimately, it's about that. You being you being uniquely you. And communicating that truth through whatever you're going through, whatever you're saying, you always come through, and not anyone else that you think people would rather see. So until next time, stay cool, stay centered, and I will see you in the next video.